So The Witcher 1 is getting a remake. You might have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm more excited for this than I was for Cyberpunk 2077 to get released, and I was really excited for Cyberpunk 2077. I got this game in the summer of 2020, and I played it for over 12 hours. And I haven't touched this game in over 2 years, besides for this video, but this is just for relevant footage. The only reason I haven't finished the game by now is because it's so dated. I care a lot about graphics, but that was the least of my problems. I don't think it's necessarily a bad game, but it's just really dated. I honestly just wasn't finding the will to finish it. The remake is Canis Majoris by Fool's Theory with CD Projekt Red supervising, and even though I didn't say it in the Cyberpunk video, link in the description. In the back of my mind, I thought about it being a remake as a possibility for what the project might be, although I honestly didn't think it was a probability, which is the main reason I didn't mention it. I will most likely not be playing The Witcher 1 before the remake is released, because I would rather play a more modern version of the game if I have a choice. I was always hoping for a remake, but if it would ever have been confirmed to be another game, I honestly probably would have just forced myself to finish the game, just so I can play the other games in the series. And like I said, it's not a bad game, it's just very old and janky. Even though the gameplay is dated, it has an excellent story, which is why I was able to play as much of the game as I did. There even seems to be a fairly large subset of players that say it has the best story of all the Witcher games. In hindsight, I maybe should have played the game instead of taking my indefinite hiatus. I was honestly just not happy about how I was locked into not being able to play a DICE game to progress a quest in the way I wanted to, and I wasn't sure on how to change that because the previous save where I could change that was too far away. I can probably play DICE games with other NPCs or something, but I didn't want to bother searching how to do that and all. Me from the future. I think I just found out how to progress that quest while playing the game for this video. That's ironic. Maybe I will play more of this game before the remake comes out. That also means I probably still couldn't progress the quest the way I wanted to, even if I had played more of the DICE game at the time, which it turns out is actually DICE Poker, because I needed to play professionally, which can only be done in the second area. And looking through the footage, there are definitely more bugs than I remember being in this game. So even if the remake is buggy, it probably won't be worse than the original. And even from the little bit of game I played, the dialogue is really good. Not necessarily the delivery or the actual words themselves, but the concepts of morality and politics really pique my interest. Even though I believe CD Projekt Red can make this remake poorly, I honestly just want to play the game too much to not pre-order it whenever I get the chance to. Because it has such a great foundation, it probably isn't going to be bad in terms of story or gameplay. And even if it doesn't look the best, which I most certainly think it will, I can't imagine it looking worse than the original. And like I said, the graphics is the least of my concern for why I'm not playing the game anyway. The only problem I can see it realistically having is glitches like Cyberpunk, but although they weren't ideal, I could deal with them there, and I would be surprised if it's worse than that. Especially because they are making it on Unreal Engine 5, so they shouldn't have problems like they did in trying to modify the Red engine for Cyberpunk. I just hope you can transfer save data from this game to The Witcher 2 like you can in the original, but if not, I might just try to find a save with the same choices somewhere on the internet. The only thing that could make me not want to get this game is if they were to censor it, like the removal of the tarot cards. If you know, you know. But I don't think they would fundamentally change the game to avoid a very specific subset of gamers who aren't a significant portion of their sales anyway. Or at least I hope. If they were to censor it for whatever reason, then I would probably not buy the game, or at least wait for mods to come out that mitigate the censorship. The only other thing that could deter me from getting the game is if they remove parts of the story. Resident Evil 3 Remake. But I don't really think they'd do that, unless for censorship reasons, but that goes more with censorship being a reason than the story itself. So unless I find out that that's the case, I'm pre-ordering this game the first chance I get. I personally wouldn't mind adding content though, as long as it doesn't stray away from the original vision of the game, but adds to it. But I don't care too much about that, and I believe that it could mess up what is already so fundamental about the game if it's done poorly. What do you think about The Witcher getting a remake? Do you think it needed it, or do you think that the game didn't necessarily need one? Are you going to buy the remake, or play the original, or play it at all? If you are buying the remake, are you going to pre-order it, buy it day one, or buy it whenever it goes on sale? Do you think it's going to be like Cyberpunk, unfinished, or do you think it will be more polished? What do you think about them moving to Unreal Engine 5? Do you think CD Projekt Red's timeline of making 7 games within 6 years of each other is feasible, or do you think it's doomed to fail? Do you think I should honestly just play the original game instead of waiting for the remake? And lastly, do you think CD Projekt Red will censor the remake in any way, or do you think they will leave the story mostly intact and the tarot cards? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day, and see you next time.